So it has really more 75 UI components, even though buttons, radio buttons, maps, and whatever. I will show you detail how all the components look like. NG bootstrapping is the same thing here. So there is a lot of components. You can very quickly integrate those components into your applications in the libraries. I mean the libraries into your components. So here is the Bathing components. You have a lot of the functionalities. Bathing component here. You can use these libraries to somewhere to the depending on use cases. Yeah, that's the most popular, and even though is many companies using those libraries into the Angular application. So NG0, there's many libraries. You see the NG lights. You can focus it because the Salesforce lighting designing systems is a component built for the Angulars, and you see that the components look like you can very quickly focus in your lighting means you're focusing your key points or point of interest to the your tables, or even though in the buttons or your process graph or your chat or your graphs, and that is those things of like. So libraries there, just you need to find out the use cases and then try to integrate the respective libraries into your applications or into your components. And you see the NG semantic UI. There's many components there. So I try to summarize here. And Charity is one of the popular the UX designing libraries. When it's a CSS HTML is a good CSS HTML tool, even though you can do the data binding, and performance is very good, and it's top of the Angular. So NG2 chart, and this is the chart when you need to present your information as a graphical way, with maybe statistical information, maybe your reports, or monthly report, or yearly report, or invoices, and then you can see what's the progress rate, or what's the increasing or decreasing rate, or demand and supplies things. Then you can present with the graphical way your information to the. So then that case, the use case is here. You can use this library and to integrate this library into the applications, and then you build the respective graphs. So basically, and this is all the 12, 11 or 12 the Angular component libraries, and depending your use case, you can integrate those libraries into your application, Angular applications. I will show you how the integration will done when I start the development, application developments, how they need to be. I will try to really build from for a very beginning level to as a professional level. So just follow the videos, the screencast, and you can get the proper ideas. So you see why specifically PrimeNG? Because the PrimeNG has a 75 components. You see the input components, and there's a lot of possibility: input boxes, list boxes, and slider, rating, and radio buttons, editor, color picker, checkboxes. All things is there. So that means you just need to install your PrimeNG libraries into the applications, and just need one line of code, and then finish your buttons, or maybe your input box is finished. And then is a button. There's many things is there. There is a panel, overlay, files, menu, and chats. So you see that I try to give it to some more detail here. So you can go out, even though in the PrimeNG website you can get the proper ideas, even though source code. But when I did this development, I will explain again how it works, how you integrate, what's the use cases for those libraries or those components. So the data has a lot of possibility. You can show that's why I'm on the key part, because I try to make one enterprise application that's having the mapping functionalities. So that means you can see every information to the maps, and then you can get decision. Any enterprise application nowadays, even though in the banks or insurance company or PayPal, eBay, or any supermarket, they need to analyze their customers, where the customer located, how their demand and supply pattern works. That's the application I try to build. That's why I found my use cases like PrimeNG. The component library will be the good solutions. But for UKs may be different depending on your project specification, and depending on your use cases. Then you combine your libraries to your application and build the application. That's all. So you see that for my case, what I have a plan in my head, okay, and maybe I combine maybe 4 or 5 libraries to my application, but the PrimeNG will be the main one, the core one. That's the PrimeNG fit what the use cases I have it in my mind with my last screencast, like 34 number up 34.1 dot up to 34.22 32. That's the use case I try to summarize, and then the use cases I start to transform as Angular and the TypeScript based applications. So here is my application architecture. This is the architecture I just copied from my last screencast. A backend server is MySQL will be designed, because the MySQL based MySQL maybe PostGIS, for at the moment PostGIS, and then there's our Hibernate models or entity models, and then this is the libraries, our API libraries. And you see that the graph is there is 2 different level of the developer groups. You see the backend group teams and API team, but as a web teams. But if you are working as a really big company like PayPal or Google's or Facebook, then there is a segregation between the backend developer and API developer and web developer. But if you are working with a small company like the size of 20 or 50 developers, and in that case that you are the full stack developer, then you have to we need to be implements all part of the development. So that means this is the part we already did. This is the part we have libraries like all the microservices, REST services for the user registration, for the billing registrations or plot registration. That's what we need. We need here this level. Just it was in the time-lapse and view technology or FreeMarker or JSP technology. Now I changed. It's only simply Angular and TypeScript based view technology. So just you have already 80% job done. Just we need to build your front-end technology with the front-end from the Angular and TypeScript. Just you need to integrate or communicate all the microservices. As example, I will give it to the clear idea. If you go to the PayPal or eBay, only single web page has maybe 20 or I don't know 20 or 25 the web services calls, microservices call, and then build a single application, single web page with 20 microservices call. That's we are living in the microservice world. That means if you have all the microservices, then front-end technology doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter is it Java based front-end view technology, or it's Spring based, or it's Grail based, or here is now Angular based. So if you are familiar with all the technologies, doesn't matter which one of them, maybe Angular you are expert, then go, you have a microservice, build an Angular front-end technology. If you are in the expert in the JSP or you FreeMarker or time-lapse or whatever it is in the front-end technology, or maybe you have a JavaScript based another framework like Badin or React, depending. But if you have the baseline, like you have a microservice in my hand, so depending your choice where you try to do is or depending on your requirements from the front-end technology. So it's very simple. There is no geo functionalities at the moment. If you try to use the geo functionalities, then you need to be use your GeoServer. It is exactly the same as, but additionally you need to GeoServer, because GeoServer handle all your geo data, your GIS, geographic information data stored there, and process and build the services and call the services to the front-end technology. Just please follow the screencast number 34, and there is a detailed discussion how the GeoServer install, how configure, how you build your services, how publish your services, and then how you call your front-end technology service into your front-end technology. I already show you in how the front-end technology call the services as a time-lapse, as a JSP, and then FreeMarker. Maybe FreeMarker is not there because I didn't have enough time to do that one. But at least with time-lapse, you get how the GeoServer need to be start, how to configure, how to integrate your geospatial data set, how you publish use services and then publish call to the U front-end technology with the maybe the with the OpenLayer or Leaflet, and even though Google APIs and Yahoo APIs, Map APIs. Just you get the maps from the OpenStreetMap or Google